My father bought me a house, but when my boyfriend found out, he completely lost it. Buying a house at this time is such a waste. Can't you just live in the dormitory like me? Why do you have so many demands? I asked him strangely. I spent my family's money. What does it have to do with you? You didn't want to rent a house with me either. So it's quite normal for my family to buy a house for me. My boyfriend insisted on living with me to protect me. I refused and we had a cold war. Not long after, rumors that I was being kept spread all over the campus wall. My dad bought me a house as a gift for my upcoming graduation. I accidentally revealed this when I was shopping. My boyfriend, Jiyu Xiaochen, immediately blew up. How could you buy a house without discussing it with me? Are you not satisfied with living in the dormitory? Or do you think I'm making you suffer? I looked at him inexplicably. Why should I discuss with you when my dad buys me a house? My dad wants to give it to me, so he did. This house costs more than 2 million. How dare you accept it? Can you afford the mortgage? For a moment, countless eyes on the street gathered over. His tone was as if I wasn't accepting a house from my dad but was being kept by someone else. My dad paid the full amount. Why are you so excited? I was suddenly angry. Your parents are workers earning a few thousand yuan a month. Mine aren't. Why should I live a hard life with you? This wasn't the first time Jiyu Xiaochen and I quarreled, but it was the most intense one. I directly threw the drink I just bought and turned to leave. Jiyu Xiaochen followed me to the house I rented, but I directly shut him out. He kept knocking on the door outside, insisting that I come out and saying that he knew he was wrong. All right, let me calm down. Stop making a fuss, or I'll call the security. Not long after I said this, the knocking stopped and his footsteps faded away. After taking a bath, I sat at my dressing table, thinking about all the times I spent with Jiyu Xiaochen. My thoughts were all over the place. I met him when I was a junior and we have been together for almost a year. He has been working for 2 years as a programmer, working 996 every day. It's hard work. But at the beginning, he was very good to me and generous. However, I never revealed my family conditions before. This time, I accidentally let slip about my dad buying me a house. I didn't expect him to have such a big reaction. Could he really be the fortune-seeking Phoenix man as my parents said? I originally wanted to calm down for a few days before meeting him again, but I didn't expect him to come the next day. However, my best friend Chen Yuran showed up first. Chen Yuran is my classmate. She was an intern at Jiyu Xiaochen's company and knew him first. At that time, we joked that he was the type we both liked and we could share him. But unexpectedly, Jiyu Xiaochen pursued me actively. Later, Chen Yuran also got a boyfriend. Xiaoqi, your old Jiyu has been exposed to the sun for 2 hours outside. Don't you feel bad? As soon as Chen Yuran entered the door, she asked me. There was something unusual in her tone. Usually, she doesn't care about the matters between me and Jiyu Xiaochen and usually stands by my side. But today, she surprisingly spoke for him. Why, did he say something to you? I looked at her lazily. A strange look quickly flashed across her face. Isn't it just about your dad buying you a house? Just as I was about to speak, there was a noisy commotion downstairs. Oh dear. Someone has fainted due to heat stroke. Call 120 quickly. The person who fainted was Jiyu Xiaochen, holding my favorite baby's breath. His parents were in a faraway mountainous area. The only connection he had in this city was me. So the hospital naturally called me first. Xiaoqi, you're here. I'm sorry. When I rushed to the hospital, what I saw was Jiyu Xiaochen with a pale face, struggling to sit up. I hurriedly ran over and supported him. Don't move. You're so weak. Have a good rest. I pushed his body down. Jiyu Xiaochen grabbed my hand, full of guilt. I'm sorry, Xiaoqi. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have quarreled with you. Looking at him like this, my heart softened immediately. The unhappiness before seemed to have dissipated a lot. Thinking about the year we spent together, he was indeed very good to me. I couldn't completely deny him just because of one thing. I took care of him in the hospital for the next 2 days, and our relationship eased. But because his body was still relatively weak after leaving the hospital, I still went to his house from time to see him and cook for him by the way. The day I just finished cooking for him, my dad called me to say that the house was decorated. I nodded but didn't notice the strange look in Jiyu Shaochen's eyes beside me. 3 days later, I officially moved into my new house. This night, just as I finished tidying up my room, I heard the doorbell and a familiar voice at the door. "Shaoqi, open the door." I hurriedly ran to open the door and saw Jiyu Shaochen holding flowers and a gift box in his hand. "Shaoqi, congratulations on moving to the new house. I'm here to celebrate with you." Looking at his bright smile, the flowers and the gift in his hand, I couldn't help being moved by him. I pulled Jiyu Shaochen in and then we sat on the sofa together, chatting for a long time, sharing our thoughts and our future. "Shaoqi, I have something I want to discuss with you." While chatting, Jiyu Shaochen suddenly changed the topic, and his tone became a bit embarrassed. I nestled in his arms and asked lazily, "What is it?" "Shaoqi, my company is more than 10 kilometers away from my dormitory. You also know that it's very inconvenient for me in such hot weather now, and I just got out of the hospital. I haven't been feeling well these days." So, he stopped talking but I already understood his meaning. My home is only 2 streets away from his company, and it only takes 10 minutes to walk. "I understand. Then you can move in first. But when the weather gets cooler, you still have to move back to the dormitory. After all, my parents don't agree with living together before marriage." I sympathized with his poor health and thought that it was only for 1 or 2 months. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. "Shaoqi, you are so kind. I promise that I will be good to you in the future and won't let you get hurt." I smiled and hugged him. He didn't go home that night. I didn't expect that this hasty decision of mine would bring me endless troubles. At the beginning, he was very grateful to me and took the initiative to undertake the tasks of cooking and cleaning the house every day. But gradually, he became more and more perfunctory. "Why are we having dumplings again today?" I looked at the frozen dumplings that had appeared on the table for 3 consecutive days and completely lost my appetite. Jiyu Shaochen looked at me with an awkward smile. "I'm sorry, Shaoqi. I've been very busy these days and I'm very tired when I come back, so I made dumplings. I will definitely cook something delicious for you tomorrow." Although I didn't want to eat, I was quite tired from writing the thesis recently. In order to rest earlier, I still ate those dumplings that I was already tired of. The days passed like this. Jiyu Shaochen would occasionally cook something I liked to eat, but later he worked overtime and went on business trips frequently. I gradually started to order takeout by myself. Between him and me, although we lived in the same house, we each had a room because I didn't want anything to happen before marriage. I don't know if it's because we spent less time together, but it seems that we have become distant. However, I thought that summer was almost over. When he moved out then, the problems between us would probably be solved. But I didn't expect that until the end of September, Jiyu Shaochen still didn't mention moving out. I hesitated for a while and decided to have a showdown with him. But just when I was about to say this, Jiyu Shaochen actually gave me a big problem. The moment I got home this day, I heard a strange voice speaking. "Oh dear, okay. Don't make so many dishes. We can't finish them." This was the voice of a middle-aged woman. Next, I heard Jiyu Shaochen's voice. "Mom, it's rare for you to come to City A. Of course I have to cook something delicious for you." I was so shocked that I rushed to the living room without even changing my shoes. "Shaoqi, you're back." Jiyu Shaochen was holding the dishes and saw me. He was stunned for a moment and then smiled, looking a bit reluctant. "Well, my mom came to City A to see a doctor, so I brought her here. You won't be angry, right?" he said, looking at his mom. I twitched the corner of my mouth. Before I could speak, his mom quickly stood up, came over and held my hand. "Oh dear, this is Shaoqi, right? Auntie has really wanted to see you for a long time, but never had the chance. This time, Auntie came to disturb you. Don't dislike me." Saying that, she also looked around my house. This house is so magnificent. I didn't expect the in-laws to be so generous. The words were full of envy, but they were particularly harsh to my ears. "Auntie, how long are you going to stay here?" I twitched the corner of my mouth and asked directly. As soon as I said this, Jiyu Shaochen's expression changed. "Shaoqi, my mom just arrived. How could you ask like this? Are you driving my mom away?" His tone was unprecedentedly serious. I looked at him and felt a bit strange. The atmosphere froze for a moment. His mom quickly came to smooth things over. "It's all my fault for coming suddenly and not telling you. It's my fault for not thinking it through. You should be angry. She forced a smile and then changed the topic. But Xiaoqi, we will be a family in the future. Auntie will tell you the truth. In the past few years, in order to support Xiaoqin's studies, the family owed a lot of debts. We wished to split a penny into two. Even this time when I was not feeling well, I originally wanted to endure it. But Xiaoqian insisted that I come to see a doctor. Auntie doesn't want to disappoint his filial piety. It's not easy to get an appointment at this big hospital. Xiaoqi, you have good conditions. Can you help? Auntie will always remember your kindness and definitely treat you like my own daughter. Her words were sincere, but I couldn't help frowning. Help? What does that mean? Could it be that she not only wants to live in my house but also wants me to pay for her medical treatment? I just felt an unnamed anger rushing straight to my heart. Treating me like a daughter? There's not even a sign of marriage. Now she's drawing a pie for me. Really think I'm a fool with a lot of money and easy to deceive? She was about to continue persuading but was interrupted by me mercilessly. Auntie, I understand what you mean. But it's really not convenient for me here. Not to mention it's far from the hospital, there's usually no one at home. If there's any emergency situation. I didn't say it too harshly, but a normal person should be able to understand the meaning of refusal. And I really wasn't talking nonsense. Jiyu Xiaoqian was busy with work and went out early and came back late. Although I would come back to live, his mother wasn't my mother. Why should I take care of her? In case of an accident, not only would I not get any good, but I would also get into a lot of trouble. Lin Xiaoqi, what do you mean by this? Are you cursing my mother to have an accident? Before his mother could speak, Jiyu Xiaoqian's expression suddenly changed, and he sternly questioned me. You're overthinking. Enough. I really didn't expect you to be such a vicious person. I'm very disappointed in you. His face was livid and was about to pull his mother away. His mother rolled her eyes and suddenly fell backward. Mom. What's wrong with you? I didn't have time to think too much and was about to call 120. But Jiyu Xiaoqian fiercely pushed me. What are you doing in a daze? Help my mother to the bed. Lin Xiaoqi, I tell you, if something happens to my mother, I won't let you go. What does it have to do with me? What did I say? Don't put all the blame on me. My face sank. I always felt something was not right, but the situation was urgent. I could only help the person lie down in the guest room on the first floor first. It wasn't long before his mother woke up. Xiaoqian, don't blame Xiaoqi. It's my fault for being useless and causing you trouble. I'll leave now. She coughed weakly a few times and struggled to get up as she spoke. Jiyu Xiaoqian glared at me even more angrily, as if he believed that I was extremely sinful. Although I was puzzled, in this situation, I couldn't drive the person out anymore. In case his mother fainted outside again or caused other commotions, I really couldn't explain clearly even if I had a mouth. Auntie, please have a good rest first. Wait until we get the appointment. I didn't want to see Jiyu Xiaoqian's face anymore, so I left the house in a disturbed mood. I thought the concession was only temporary, but the following events made my anger on the verge of being ignited. Jiyu Xiaoqian's mother regarded herself more and more as an insider. She often made the house dirty and used the excuse that she had no strength all over to watch me clean up with peace of mind. After failing to refuse, I lost my patience and called Jiyu Xiaoqian when she asked me to cook again. What's the matter? The person on the other end of the microphone asked indifferently. I knew he was still angry that I didn't directly agree to his mother moving in that day. Cold violence was his most commonly used method, just to make me give in voluntarily. I used to like him, so I was willing to lower my head. But now, I don't know why. Although it was still the same person, I felt that he had changed a lot. Your mother is hungry and there's no food. She also broke the glass on the table. Come back and deal with it. Is such a small matter worth calling me? Can't you? Jiyu Xiaoqian's tone was very impatient. That's your mother, not mine. I didn't want to say another word and hung up the phone directly. Xiaoqi, let's talk nicely. In our hometown, a woman with a bad temper will be gossiped about. Jiyu Xiaoqian's mother disapprovingly accused me. I sneered twice and ignored her, and went back to school directly. I was busy with my studies recently and didn't want to care about them. But being too kind can be bullied. The old saying is indeed somewhat reasonable. Not only did his mother walk around only wearing underwear when Jiyu Shaochen was at home, but she also pushed open the bathroom door while I was taking a bath, and Jiyu Shaochen was outside. What are you doing? Can't you see someone is inside? Why do you have to come to this bathroom? I quickly pulled the shower curtain and shouted. What's there to be shy about? You'll have to be seen sooner or later anyway. His mother rolled her eyes nonchalantly as if I was making a fuss. I came out with a sullen face after getting dressed. Jiyu Shaochen was watching short videos and laughed from time to time. It sounded particularly harsh. Looking at the dusty living room, the messy coffee table, and his mother who was throwing melon seed shells on the ground with her legs crossed, I couldn't bear it and took a deep breath. They seemed to gradually regard themselves as the masters here, attempting to challenge my bottom line. This was what I couldn't tolerate the most. Jiyu Shaochen, I limit you to pack up all your things and leave within 1 hour. I walked up to him and said coldly. Are you crazy? Why are you making such a fuss at night? He frowned impatiently. Don't forget, you made my mother faint from the stimulus. I haven't settled the score with you yet. It would be fine if he didn't mention this. But as soon as he did, the string called reason in my mind completely collapsed. I did it? Don't you feel guilty for saying that? Not to mention that what I said that day was the truth. You didn't even call 120. Don't you know in your heart whether your mother really fainted or pretended to faint? Usually, you like to show your ability. How come you haven't been able to get an expert appointment for so long? If it doesn't work, find a scalper and spend a few dozen yuan. Could it be that you are reluctant to spend this money for your own mother? Or do you just want to use this excuse to stay at my house naturally? I sneered. With a reasonable output, I successfully saw Jiyu Shaochen show an embarrassed and angry expression. Shaoqi, why are you speaking so harshly? Shaochen is busy with work and has no time. As his girlfriend, shouldn't you share his burden? His mother was about to jump out to protect him and was choked back by me as well. As a girlfriend, I have to cook and do housework and even take care of his mother? Auntie, don't you think your words are too ridiculous? I wasn't sold to your family. Why should I work like a cow or a horse? There are still 55 minutes. I don't want to make things too ugly. You'd better move out quickly. After saying that, I lowered my head and started making an appointment with a nearby cleaner on my phone. I didn't notice the fleeting anger and malice in Jiyu Shaochen's eyes. So by the time I reacted, my neck was already tightly choked by him. Lin Shaoqi, dare you repeat what you just said? Jiyu Shaochen pushed me against the wall, looking fierce and gritted his teeth as he asked. The air in my chest was getting thinner and thinner. My face quickly turned red. I tried my best to break free, but it was to no avail. For a moment, I suspected that he really wanted to kill me. Endless fear welled up in my heart. I couldn't help secretly regretting why I had to be so quick-tongued. The two of them were closely connected. I was alone and weak. I would always suffer losses. A girl like Shaoqi who is spoiled just needs discipline. When married, she should follow her husband. If her character doesn't change, how can she please the in-laws? When his mother saw that I was having difficulty breathing, not only did she not mean to stop it, but instead said something sarcastic beside me. Do you know you're wrong? Say it. Encouraged by this, Jiyu Shaochen stared at me, asking me to give in. Let go. Let go of me. I just thought his posture was really disgusting and refused to do as he wished no matter what. Okay, then don't blame me for being ruthless. His eyes roamed maliciously around my chest. Just as he was about to reach out and pull my clothes, there was a sudden knock on the door. Cleaner, please open the door. Jiyu Shaochen panicked for a moment and quickly let me go. I immediately staggered to the door and hid behind the cleaner, shouting in a hoarse voice. He's going to kill me. Call the police quickly. The cleaner was an elderly aunt. Hearing this, she was somewhat at a loss. Jiyu Shaochen quickly reacted and put on a kind face. Auntie, my girlfriend and I had a little quarrel. She's just being petty. You don't need to worry. Just do your work. Yes, it's normal for young couples to have fights and quarrels. Young lady, don't be afraid. It's fine. His mother also chimed in. The cleaner aunt carefully looked at me and in the end said nothing. She finished cleaning neatly and left. Jiyu Shaochen thought that scaring me could control me. But when he came out of the shower, What he saw was the serious property management staff and security guards, as well as his scattered clothes all over the floor. "Sir, please leave Miss Lin's house as soon as possible." "Is there a mistake? Shaki is my girlfriend. We were just..." He tried to deceive the property management staff with the same statement, but they turned a deaf ear and just repeated what they said earlier. "Miss Lin is the homeowner. We follow her wishes. Please leave immediately with your mother." His mother was about to shout, but when she saw the strong security guard beside her, she immediately dared not make a sound. "Lin Shaki, you're good. Just you wait." Jiyu Shaochen glared at me with a threatening mouth shape and then unwillingly picked up his clothes and left. After he left, I let out a long breath as if I had survived a disaster and almost collapsed on the ground. I didn't call the police because there was no direct evidence. And he could easily say that we were just playing. The police would at most give a verbal education and wouldn't cause him any substantial harm. And what I wanted was obviously more than these insignificant retaliations. I would use my own means to completely ruin his reputation and make him pay the price he deserved. After instructing the property management not to let Jiyu Shaochen in again, I lay on the bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. I was thinking about what kind of person I had liked for so long. Did I really know every side of him? The answer was obviously no. Jiyu Shaochen had always been gentle to me, but just now he almost choked me to death. Just because of this, it was impossible for me to continue being with him. I want to break up. Once this thought emerged, it lingered in my mind. I can't wait any longer. After making up my mind, I edited the message, sent it out and immediately blocked all his contact information. Not surprisingly, Jiyu Shaochen began to pester me. He would come to the school to find me almost every day. At first, he humbly begged for forgiveness. In the end, he even used threats. "Lin Shaki, you're just a used shoe that I played with. Your temper is so bad. Besides me, who else would like you? Don't worry about it." I sneered, suppressing the nausea in my heart, and retorted. "The Qing dynasty has long perished. I didn't expect your thinking to be so futile. Just having a relationship is considered playing. Then how do you know it wasn't me playing with you? Just say directly if you can't bear to part with my family's money. Who are you showing that affectionate look to? It's simply disgusting. I'll tell you clearly. We're completely over and we'll never get back together. You'd better never show up in front of me again. Go away." Scolded by me in public, he couldn't lower his face to continue pleading and left angrily. I thought it would be quiet for a while, but apparently I underestimated his insidious and cunning level. Early the next morning, as soon as I arrived at the school, I found that the expressions of the people around me were strange. Especially the boys. The looks in their eyes when looking at me were full of undisguised malice and teasing. Some even whistled at me like a rogue. I coldly glared at them and walked to my seat without saying a word. My best friend Chen Yuan suddenly came closer. "Xiao Qi, look at this post on the campus wall. It's about you." I took the phone and took a look. My anger rushed straight to the top of my head. Title: Shocking. Lin Shaki, the belle of the finance department of a university, looks innocent on the surface but is actually so wild behind the scenes. The post detailed how I step by step myself as a rich and beautiful girl through prostitution and claimed to have pictures and the truth. But when I took a closer look, those were either some big brand skincare products and cosmetics, or pictures of my dad picking me up in a luxury car, and me shopping in high-end malls. Clearly, they were just daily consumption, but they could be deliberately distorted to such an extent. I just thought it was outrageous. I originally wanted to let it go. After all, rumors stop with the wise. However, the popularity of that post remained high, and some classmates who didn't know the truth came to attack me one after another. Even such a person with bad character can enter a university. It's really a disgrace to the school. Be sensible and drop out quickly. That's right. I heard that she also has a boyfriend called Jiyu Shaochen. She dumped him because he didn't have that much money. How pitiful. These days, the pure love warrior has become a clown. Let's observe a moment of silence for that guy. There were all kinds of comments scolding me and defending Jiyu Shaochen under the post. This incident was so big that even my parents were alarmed. When I got home on the weekend, what I saw was their worried expressions. "Xiao Qi, the thing on the internet. It's all fake. It was maliciously fabricated by someone. I'm already thinking of a way. Mom and Dad, You don't need to worry. I can handle it myself. I forced a smile at them to show my reassurance. Do you know who did it? Jiyu Shaochen. I firmly said his name and also told them about the incident that he and his mother caused in my house some time ago. Why didn't you tell Mom and Dad when such a big thing happened? My mom's face changed greatly when she heard this and quickly hugged me affectionately. Didn't I come out fine? He doesn't have that much courage. This time, it's probably because he couldn't get me back and wanted to ruin my reputation. I've endured him for a long time. This is the best time to fight back. You've grown up and have your own opinions on many things. Mom and Dad don't want to persuade you. But if you encounter difficulties, you must speak out. We will always be your strong backing. My dad solemnly patted my hand. I couldn't help but feel my eyes redden with emotion. Sure enough, no matter when, parents are the warmest harbor by our side. After comforting them, I calmed down and started to prepare for the counterattack. There is a saying that money makes the mare go. Jiyu Shaochen thought he had hidden himself seamlessly, but I only spent a few hundred yuan to have a hacker find out the IP address of that post. I quietly went to look for it. Sure enough, I saw his mother's face. It turned out that this was the house rented for her by Jiyu Shaochen. I sneered and was about to leave when another familiar face suddenly came into view unexpectedly. Chen Yuan. Why was she here? An unbelievable thought gradually emerged in my mind. I was stunned for a moment and saw Jiyu Shaochen's mother affectionately holding Chen Yuan's hand. Yuan, it's really hard for you to come all the way here to cook for me. It's Shaochen's fortune to know a girl like you. Auntie, you're overpraising me. Senior Shaochen is very excellent. I've always admired him. Chen Yuan lowered her head shyly, and a flush flashed across her face. It's good to have you by his side. That Lin Shaoqi, I don't even want to mention her. Relying on having a little money, she has a very bad temper. I don't know who will be so unlucky to marry her as a wife in the future. When it came to me, Jiyu Shaochen's mother was full of resentment in her tone. I couldn't help but flash a touch of sarcasm in my eyes. Not getting the advantage and getting angry instead. If I married into such a family, I would be the one weeping and regretting for life. Auntie, don't be angry. Lin Shaoqi is already notorious at school. Maybe she will be expelled in a few days. Why are you angry with someone who only has a high school diploma? Chen Yuan flatteringly pinched her shoulders. Only then did Jiyu Shaochen's mother narrow her eyes and return to the room. And I stood not far away, feeling completely disheartened. No wonder there were so many real pictures in that post, which greatly increased the credibility and made me be scolded severely. I suspected everyone around me, except Chen Yuan. I didn't expect that the truth slapped me hard in the face. The ghost friend has always been by my side. This yellow rumor against me was actually jointly caused by my best friend and my boyfriend. I wanted to laugh but couldn't. I just turned away with sadness in my heart. But not confronting Chen Yuan face to face doesn't mean I will swallow my anger. Since she betrayed me first, I don't need to show any mercy. I took the initiative to ask Jiyu Shaochen to meet. He seemed to think that I wanted to keep him and ask him to come back. There was arrogance between his eyebrows. Why, being scolded so much that you can't hold your head up? Now you think of me. That post was sent by you, right? Although it was a question, my tone was extremely firm. Yes. So what? Who would believe you if you said it? Everyone thinks you are flirtatious. I'm the victim. I just want to use their sympathy to nail you firmly on the pillar of shame and make you carry the stigma for a lifetime. Jiyu Shaochen laughed triumphantly, but in the next second, he suddenly grabbed my phone which was upside down on the table. Want to record? Do you really think I'm that stupid? He threw my phone into the glass filled with water and maliciously curled the corners of his lips. Now there's no evidence left. Actually, I didn't have to be so extreme. It's just that you weren't obedient and made me very unhappy. You said that as a girl, living in such a big house and having so much money, what for? It's better to give it all to me. When I succeed, how could I forget you? Pa. What are you doing? Jiyu Shaochen wiped the water off his face and glared angrily at me who stood up holding the glass. Daydreaming in broad daylight. Let me make you sober up. If you don't have the ability, you don't have it. Pretending to be born at the wrong time and being frustrated? A phoenix man like you who aims too high is only fit to stay at the bottom and will never have a chance to soar. After scolding him severely, I held the recording pen in my pocket and left satisfied. Xiaoqi, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's go out for a meal. When I received the message from Chen Yuran, I wasn't surprised at all. In fact, thinking about it, everything was traceable. For example, she liked Jiyu Xiaochen at that time. But Jiyu Xiaochen chose me and she had a boyfriend. So I thought she gave up. Including the time when she pleaded for him before Jiyu Xiaochen fainted with flowers. I only thought it was a coincidence at that time and didn't pay attention to it. That's why I was extremely disappointed after learning the truth. So many years of friendship fell apart because of a man. I can't say I'm not heartbroken and regretful. But I won't wait to be attacked and let others do bad things to me. Okay. After replying to the message, I started to prepare for this tonight. In the evening, I arrived as promised. Chen Yuran had already arrived. When she saw me, her little finger moved unconsciously. I knew her and knew that this was her expression when she was guilty. My gaze fixed on the two slightly rippling red liquids. I sat down as usual. She talked about the things when we were kids. Those beautiful and bright memories seemed like they were just yesterday. Xiaoqi, I toast you. I hope our friendship lasts forever. When she said this, her eyes wandered. Apparently, she was thinking about something else in her mind. I just felt sarcastic, but the smile on my face deepened. I clinked glasses with her and drank it all in one gulp. Immediately, Chen Yuran's eyes showed a surprised light. It was the joy after a scheme succeeded. After several rounds of drinking, both of us were a little drunk. It's not convenient to call a car to go home now. The house I rent is nearby. Why not make do for one night? Chen Yuran seemed to be persuading, but actually held my arm without allowing any objection and took me away from the restaurant. Xiaoqi, how do you feel now? The dark room didn't turn on the light. She stared at me straight, looking like an evil ghost for a moment. Seeing that I seemed to be in a trance and didn't respond all the time, she sighed and looked crazy. You can't blame me. Who made you make Brother Xiaochen angry? You know, I can't stand seeing him frown the most. So in order to make him happy, I have to sacrifice you. Really? It's a pity that your wishful thinking is going to fail. I stood up and my originally confused eyes suddenly became clear. Chen Yuran was shocked for a moment, stared at me with disbelief and pointed at me while backing away. How is it possible? Didn't you drink that glass of wine? It wasn't until she felt her body getting soft and hotter that she suddenly reacted. Yes, when you went to the bathroom, I changed the wine. What you wanted to do to me, the bad result will eventually rebound on yourself. I looked at her again and left coldly. No, don't. She obviously remembered something terrifying. She tried her best to hold me but eventually collapsed on the ground and lost consciousness. At the same time, unbearable moans came out of her mouth. I went out first and waited in a blind spot nearby. Not long after, a few hooligans looked around sneakily and excitedly entered the room and locked the door. Under the moonlight, each of their faces had a ferocious and terrifying expression. At dawn, I went in again. Chen Yuran lay on the ground with a heartbroken expression, and her body was full of terrifying scars. The moment she saw me, an extremely intense hatred suddenly appeared on her face. Why are you glaring at me? Don't you think I hurt you? I just treated you in the same way. The one you should hate is someone else. Then, I clicked on my phone and played a recording. Brother Jiyu, what if we got the wrong person? Somehow the person in the room turned into that woman surnamed Chen. It was the voices of those hooligans last night. What? You bunch of useless things, didn't I tell you it was Lin Shaki? Forget it. You leave quickly and don't be discovered. Jiyu Xiaochen shouted angrily. Then. Won't that woman surnamed Chen sue us? No. Chen Yuran is just a sycophant of mine. At most, I'll coax her for a few words. The most important thing now is to find that bitch Lin Shaki. This time, we can't let her run away again. The recording stopped here. Chen Yuran's face turned pale, looking shaky as if she was deeply hit. I installed a monitoring software on Jiyu Xiaochen. This is his true thought. He's never been a good person. It's just that your love put a filter on him. Looking at the burning rage in the depth of her eyes, I left silently. The deeper the love, the stronger the hate. Chen Yuran is a smart person and also very extreme. She has her own way of retaliation. And so do I. I sent all the evidence I had in my hand to the campus wall all at once, including but not limited to the threatening words he sent me after moving out of my house, as well as the IP address and recording evidence of posting and buying popularity with trolls. This caused a huge stir. Jiyu Shachen's reputation deteriorated at an astonishing speed. He was furious and wanted to refute, but the evidence was conclusive and there was no defense at all. At the same time, Chen Yuran also took action. Not only did she make that recording public and accuse Jiyu Shachen of his crimes, but also she drugged him unconscious when Jiyu Shachen vented his anger on her and took him to a well-known rainbow bar. I learned all of this from the verdict on TV. After coming out of the bar, Jiyu Shachen contracted AIDS. He didn't dare to go out. He was completely shocked and didn't even dare to go to the hospital. He could only watch his whole body rot. Meanwhile, he was imprisoned for the crime of hiring someone to harm others. The other prisoners found him disgusting and bullied him in various ways. I heard that his days inside were very difficult. And Jiyu Shachen's mother witnessed her son ending up like that and couldn't accept it for a moment. She was in a trance and had a car accident while crossing the road. She became paraplegic and a beggar on the street. After completing my graduation thesis, I successfully obtained my degree certificate and finally went abroad for further study with the support of my parents. The moment the plane took off, many past events suddenly replayed in my mind. I remembered the days when I was just with Jiyu Shachen. At that time, we were naive, simple and inexperienced. It was the most beautiful appearance of youth. However, things have changed and people are no longer the same, which is only lamentable. But I don't regret it at all. Because I know that if I had the slightest soft-heartedness, it would be me who ended up in a tragic situation. The plane took off and I slowly closed my eyes. It's not my fault to meet bad people. I have my own wonderful new life to live.